Hey everyone, my name is Michael Cyger and I'm the publisher of DomainSherpa.com. This is a special show about the upcoming T.R.A.F.I.C conference taking place in Las Vegas from May 28th to the 31st. I'm joined by T.R.A.F.I.C co-founder Rick Schwartz, who's been running the T.R.A.F.I.C conference for more than 10 years. Rick, welcome.
Thank you, Michael. Glad to be here.
There are many conferences in the industry for domain name investors, for entrepreneurs, for business owners to attend. I invited you on this special show, Rick, to discuss differentiation, to understand what's different about the T.R.A.F.I.C conference and to learn more about it. So let's start with this. What can people expect if they attend T.R.A.F.I.C West conference this year?
They can expect to go home making money. That's the number one thing. They can expect to come and make deals, and hopefully for some people, like I always say, it could be life-changing, and it usually is, and people always come back to me and tell me that their lives were changed afterwards, that have come to T.R.A.F.I.C for the first time, almost every single one of them.
Okay, so let me break that down. They come and make deals. I haven't done any deals at T.R.A.F.I.C. Am I not doing something right? Should I show up with a list of domain names that I want to sell or I want to buy? Or when you say making deals, what kind of deals get done?
Well, I don't know, but guys like Alan Hack, who's been coming to every single T.R.A.F.I.C, and most people know him, he comes to me usually before the show starts, and he says, Rick, you won't believe it, but every single time I come to T.R.A.F.I.C, I make all my expenses back before the show even starts. And he comes with an entire agenda. He comes with planned meetings, and he just really tackles the show. And people that I think, some people it's just getting to know other people or learning tips or trying to figure out what they can do with their own domains. But then there's, major deals that happen at the show, mergers that happen at the show, and people that plant seeds for new businesses, and it's been happening for 10 years, and you don't have to take my word for it. Our history speaks for itself. I think if you look at DN Journal's pieces over the years, you'll find enough deals that have happened at the show, and even just the auctions. The domains that have been sold at auction have gone on to become big entities, so it's been pretty interesting.
All right, so your big emphasis is making deals, and people need to show up ready to do deals. So if they have domain names they want to sell, they have a list of them. Maybe it's a short list, and they can, know what domains they want to talk about when they're talking with people. If it's domains they want to buy, they can maybe target some brokers to have conversations with around there. If they have a domain name that they want to develop, targeting the developers at the conference for maybe partnership, or at least picking their brains on how they should develop it and what kind of monetization strategies they may want to do. That's how people can make money at the T.R.A.F.I.C conference.
Yeah, plus the people that don't show up aren't even in the running, obviously, because people would rather do business with people that they actually have met eye to eye and face to face, and so they have an inside track to people that are just in the internet. It's just a little bit different, a little bit more personal, and it's a human nature thing.
Yep.
You're more apt to do business with people that are right there, right now, and you know you're going to see again, as opposed to someone that you don't run into. So that's part of the equation also. There's as we'll discuss, through the show, I'm sure there's a lot of different factors that go into it.
Yeah. All right. So so that's great. That's tangible. I get that, that people can make deals, and you need to know what kind of deals you want to do before you show up. Like the example that you gave with Alan Hack, he has an agenda and he takes care of it. So he's showing up early, meeting in the cabanas, meeting people, that are showing up early, setting up times to talk with them to move forward.
Absolutely. And he balances time well between meetings and social time. And another person is Michael Gilmore. And Michael has been to every show. He comes from Australia. It cost him $20,000 to come to every single T.R.A.F.I.C, and every single T.R.A.F.I.C, he goes home and he says, I got months of work to do after this. So these are top guys in the industry, and they keep coming back and they keep making money. And if people are coming and they're not making money, well, the first thing I would say, well, why aren't you making money? And maybe you should talk to those two people at T.R.A.F.I.C and ask them, what are we doing? Or what are you doing that we're not doing? What do you see? And where are you getting the value that we're not getting out of? And then it always gets back to the original point of T.R.A.F.I.C. And we could have done a free show, for instance, and have it sponsor driven and like that. The problem with that is, to me, I used to advertise in hundreds of trade publications, and there were free publications and paid publications, and you would pay accordingly. Free publications, they just wanted to circulate it to as many people as possible, qualified or not, and you would pay one rate for that. And on a paid, on a magazine or a trade publication that a business has to pay $10 a year for, $20 a publication a month for, those people are much more qualified. They're a whole different ball game than those other people. It's just, you can't explain it. It just people that take it very, very seriously, that that they live and breathe this stuff 24/7, and it's just a completely different mindset. That's why we always say, with T.R.A.F.I.C, everyone has skin in the game. So when Michael Gilmore gets on his plane after, knowing he's going to get $20,000 in bills, he says, okay, I got to change the bill into an expense. Because it's just like the magazine. The magazine was a bill for $1,000 unless I made $10,000. Then it was no longer a bill.
Right.
And that's the whole thing. And that's what people got to understand is, how do you turn a bill into an investment and then into a profit? And when people come to T.R.A.F.I.C and they all have skin in the game, they all took a few $1,000s out of their wallet, they left their homes, their businesses, their comfortable lives, and they all came together. They are energized to do business. And that's the key, because everyone is there and saying, you know what, I have to make something happen because I spent a lot of money to do this, and I have to make something happen. Now, you take that and change that to something where, okay, you go and you just get a free meal and you listen to the investment banker, and you know what? You may not even listen to him because you get your free steak and chicken or whatever, and that's what counts. And that isn't our agenda, and it's never been our focus, and we take it really seriously. And if we're going to drag you away from your families and ask you to do that, then there has to be a benefit. And that's the magic, and that's why no one's ever been able to really copy what we do. Everyone keeps trying, but, sometimes they fall short. At the end of the day, they don't take anything home. They had a good time, and that's fine, and they met, a lot of people, and which is fine, but nothing tangible to walk out the door with and say, wow, I did that, and I did it at T.R.A.F.I.C, and that's cool.
I mentioned in the intro, domain investors, entrepreneurs, business owners. Those are the people I target on domainsherpa.com because we're trying to expand the universe of people who are interested in domain names. Are those same people that come to T.R.A.F.I.C event? Is it the same type of people, or do you mainly target domain name investors?
Well, we're a domain name investor show. That's the nucleus of who we are. So the people, and we're tightly wound, so the people that understand that, the auxiliary people that either supply us, the picks and shovels, so to speak, they know our group is there, and there's a good reason for them to come. But, we talk about expanding this, and I've been doing this a long time, and it's really hard to expand the pie. And I'll give you an example. The other day I was looking at all the Domain Sherpa shows and looking how many views on YouTube. And I looked at each one and how many views it had. And do you know which one had the single most views?
Maybe an Adam Dicker show?
No, it was your first show. It was your first show.
Well, it's the oldest. It's been around the longest, so.
Well, but wait a second. It wasn't even close.
Huh.
It wasn't even close. It was a blowout. That one compared to everyone else. And if you look at the trend, unfortunately, because you spend a lot of time doing the show and a lot of energy, and you put a lot of you into it, and we try to help where we can, and you can see it go down. The numbers should be going up, and especially with the expansion that we're going through with the gTLDs, the numbers should be going up. It isn't. So it's so hard to expand this universe. It's so hard. I mean, here's the probably one of the most open occupations, professions, investments that has ever come out in the history of mankind. I mean, $8.40 or $8.50, and you're in a worldwide business. We've never had anything this powerful, this level in the history of man, and it's still like limping along. And even the domain industry should be expanding by leaps and bounds. And look, you saw consolidation this week between Oversea and Rook Media. Mm-hmm. So it's still contracting. Even with the expansion, there's so much contracting still going on. It's quite amazing. And I think a lot of it is for the mindset. I mean, look where our mindset was 6 or 8 months ago. I mean, I remember telling people last May and through the summer, really good times are coming. Things are really about to explode when we were at the darkest days, and no one believed it, and they were basically jumping out their windows. And things have really improved, but their mindset hasn't. Mm-hmm. Their mindset hasn't caught up with the activity that's going on out there. There's lots of activity. But for some reason, everyone started putting on the brakes. It's like, this isn't the time that you put on the brakes. There's a term, you make hay when the sun shines. So that's what I look at. This is the time to make hay. Forget what happened the last 6 months or the last few years. That era is over. I mean, the expansion going on in the economy now is stunning. Mm-hmm. It's stunning. Forget about what you hear on TV. And I'm sure it's not through all parts of the country and all parts of the world, but now you see the green shoots, and it's stunning.
So if the economy is expanding and there's opportunities, somebody new to the industry that maybe has a few $1,000s to invest, maybe they are going to spend a few $1,000s to come to T.R.A.F.I.C, and then they have a few $1,000s to invest. Are they going to learn where those economic opportunities are by coming to T.R.A.F.I.C?
Absolutely, because the first thing we always stress, and we've been from the day one, is learn how to pick a great domain name. And that's still the single biggest thing. I mean, I look through portfolios and 1,000 domains, and I can't pull out one that has value. And I know this person spent a lot of time trying to think of things and spent a lot of thousands of dollars, and at the end of the day, they didn't get what they...
Hey, guess what? I'm on.
Hey, Howard.
Hey, look at that.
We're joined by Howard Neu, the co-founder of the T.R.A.F.I.C conference. Welcome, Howard.
Thank you, Michael, but it took goddamn Google 20 minutes to allow me to get on this phone call.
There he goes, blaming Google again.
And we're using Google Plus, so of course they're monitoring everything we say and transcribing it out. Well, welcome, Howard. We were just talking about differentiation of the T.R.A.F.I.C conference. We talked about how people are going to be making deals at T.R.A.F.I.C, and that is the focus that you and Rick emphasize, that deals get done, that the face-to-face meetings with people who are of a like mind, predominantly domain name investors, is how things get done. What I want to focus a few minutes on is the actual content of the conference. Like, I understand the networking aspect. I understand that people need to come with their own agenda. They need to figure out what they want to learn, people they want to meet, domains they want to sell, domains they may want to buy, how they want to monetize them. They can bring a list. They can have those discussions. But, you know, one of my main objectives is to come and learn great stories, interesting entrepreneurs who are using domain names, and then, you know, learn about their story, bring them on to Domain Sherpa and do that. And I'm sure a lot of other people like to attend the educational content as well. Can you talk a little bit about the program, the educational content that will happen in the program at T.R.A.F.I.C this May?
Go ahead, Rick. That's your bod.
Oh, I didn't pay attention to the question because but it's okay.
The program, Rick. What is on the program? What can people expect?
We have 2 segments from 2 different people on taking a domain name and making a business out of it within 1 hour. Okay, we have 2 segments on that. We have a 3rd segment on someone who's going to show you how to take a domain name to a full-fledged business in 15 minutes. Okay? So that's the first things we're going to have. Stuff you can use right now. In other words, the minute you get home, you can start employing this stuff, period. So that's one thing. We're going to have a millionaires panel of guys that have sold domains for $1 million or more, and they're going to get up there and explain, how do you get to $1 million sale? How many times do you have to say no? How many times do you go back and forth? What kind of emotion was in the negotiation? Did anyone tell each other to go to hell during the negotiation? Because listen, negotiations have a lot of tension in it.
Yeah.
It's not a smooth sailing thing, and anything goes in a negotiation, which people, I think domainers need to understand. There is nothing off limits in a negotiation. People tell each other to go fuck themselves every single day. Half the conversations, it doesn't matter, because it's all, if they're both there to carve out a deal, they'll find a way, and after the deal is made, they'll have dinner, and they'll have the greatest laugh in the world about all the crap that went on. But everything is fair game in a negotiation. So we're going to have these guys that have sold $1 million domains get up there and say, this is how a deal like that happened. This is how I was able to ask that kind of money for a domain name. This is how I was able to turn down 50,000, turn down 100,000, turn down 200,000, turn down 500,000, turn down 750,000, turn down $1 million, turn down two. That's what it's about, and believing in what you have and sticking to your guns. So another way to make money, because I'll tell you, the number one thing I see also, domainers that sell their domains way too cheap. That's another common flaw, is if we all pick 1,000 domains and we only have 100 of them that have value, you wouldn't want to sell your golden goose for chump change. And a lot of people do that because they really, they go to Esterbot to find out a value, or they go to Google to look up how many searches it has. That isn't what gives a domain value. So, real world stories from real domainers that have really been there have more value than all the extraneous things. We'll have success stories on domainers that have made full-fledged businesses out of their domains, which is happening more and more. I mean, obviously, I don't think there's a domainer that's watching this show right now that doesn't have developing going on. It doesn't mean that they're successful. It doesn't mean that they work yet, but they just keep trying, and eventually they have enough satellites and enough things going on that they never know when it's going to pop or get popular, or, it's like anything else. You develop something. We develop like hallofshame.com. It's up there. Go back every once in a while, maybe polish it up a little bit, add a little bit more content. That's what you do when you have domains and you develop it. You put them. It's kind of like an artist. An artist sometimes is working on 100 paintings at one time. He goes and he's motivated to work on a specific piece for a certain while. Anyway, we try to bring real-world domainers sharing their stories of what they do so that when you go home, you can take their ideas and employ them.
Yeah, no, I agree. You look at, a lot of the incubators that are out there, the big famous incubators that have the private equity backing or the angel investing backing, and they're making a lot of investments in development opportunities in businesses, and most of them aren't going to pay off, but the ones that do hit big. And so I think domainers need to start thinking about their assets in that way and investing smart. So I love the fact that you have these how to build a business opportunities so people can look at the model, see what they have that might fit into that model, even if it's in a completely different industry, and maybe build something out.
I think that the key of what Rick is talking about is that negotiation is an art. And the art of negotiation requires certain work to be done before you even start negotiating. Number one is you need to know who you're negotiating with, who's on the other side. Number two, and probably the most important thing, is who's got the leverage. Who needs the domain more than you do? And if they do need the domain, how much would they be willing to spend based upon their history? And if you have that knowledge, and I'm sure Rick will agree that that knowledge is key to knowing, where to say no and where to say yes.
Yeah.
Well, the one thing that I want to determine when someone contacts me, okay, the value to them is and which becomes in turn the value that they're going to offer to me is how big is their idea. So if they can only make $500 a year on their idea, why are you even wasting your time talking to them? Which is another point. Many domainers waste all day talking to people that are just not qualified. I mean, if their goal in life is to make $500 a year from your domain name, how are you possibly selling it for $5,000 or $10,000 or $100,000? You're talking to the wrong guy and you're wasting your time. And you know, you got to get, like I say, time wasters. Or if domainers sat there right now and think, how many people wasted my time today? They'd be amazed how much time they wasted. And it's like, again, that you got to filter all of that out, and that's part of the negotiation, is who not to negotiate with. I mean, I don't answer 90% of my emails for a domain name because they don't qualify to be answered.
That's hey Rick, let me ask you a couple more pieces about the program. I saw that speed networking might be coming back. Is that the case, or is that something that might not?
May not. We're still working on the schedule.
Okay.
And it was on the agenda today, but Howard doesn't know that I pulled it off. Find out right now.
All right. Let's talk about the live auction. Is there going to be a live auction at this T.R.A.F.I.C conference?
Well, we're going to do something a little bit different. As you know, T.R.A.F.I.C, it all started with T.R.A.F.I.C and Howard's idea for a blackboard and a silent auction at the first T.R.A.F.I.C. And then it morphed into the first live auction. Well, you know, it's 10 years later. I think we're auctioned out. I mean, there's auctions 24/7, but what we're going to do is a little bit different. Is instead of devoting a couple of valuable hours to an auction that maybe not everyone wants to attend or is interested at this point, what we're going to do is on opening night, with our partners above, we're going to start a silent auction at the opening party. The auction will continue both online and at T.R.A.F.I.C until lunchtime of the second day. At that time, the bidding will cease. Anyone in attendance at T.R.A.F.I.C that has the high bid will automatically be awarded the domain name, assuming that it made the reserve. Any domain that did not will continue in the silent auction until the Friday after the show. And so that's what we have planned, and it makes it a little bit more interesting. We can have a little bit more diversified inventory. I think the gTLD guys will be enthused because they don't have to depend strictly on the live audience. They will have the benefit of the internet audience, and we don't have to worry about being embarrassed when the internet connection goes down and everyone starts calling us names because it didn't work, and we don't have to go through that aggravation. So this is the way that we think it works for everybody.
How are you going to select? I'm sorry, Howard, go ahead.
A little bit on that, if I may, Michael.
Please.
At the silent, the standard silent auction is you have an item to be auctioned. You have a piece of paper by that item, and then you put down your name and then your bid, and then it's in $100 increments or whatever the increments are. And at the end of the night, you gather them all in and you decide who's got the highest bid. Well, that's the start of it, but not the finish of it. As soon as we go on the silent auction, Above is going to have a monitor in their booth, and they will have all of these domains live on their monitor. In addition, they will be online with these domains, so that anybody from the very beginning till the Friday, in other words, the beginning will be Wednesday night, the Friday luncheon where the auction ends. At that time, the winners will be announced. For those who are there, if in fact, like Rick said, a domain has not met its reserve, they can in fact make a bid on that domain. It's not an auction, it's just an opportunity for them to try to claim that domain. Mm-hmm. Every domain that is not sold by 1 o'clock on Friday.
Oh, what happens, Howard, by 1 o'clock on Friday?
We'll never know. Listen, the suspense will
that is a cliffhanger, and that's why you need to attend T.R.A.F.I.C.
Right, but at 1 p.m. Friday, it goes into the general auction online, and then it continues for a few days.
Hey, Rick, so I love silent auctions, as does my wife, who I can attest to. She loves to go around and write our number and the bid on them, but at the end of the night, they gather them up, and whoever has the highest bid wins. If a domain hits the reserve, will whoever's in attendance win it?
Well, yes. The whole thing is normally when you go to an event like that, the event ends at 11 p.m. and everyone goes home. Well, guess what? With this, we're still there for another day, so it can continue on for 2 more days while everyone is still there. So that's the difference.
Do you have any keynote speakers that are planned that with a message that may impact the general audience?
Well, let me pull up my schedule here real quick, and I know we have Dwayne Forrester, and with Bing, and I've heard a lot of great things about Dwayne, and I don't think he's spoken at a conference before, so I believe this is his first time. I know he's attended one, but I don't think he's spoken at any. I may be wrong. So we're looking forward to that, and you know, he's I think he has a pretty interesting take on things, especially you know, they're going after Google, and I've been saying for a few years that I like what Bing is doing, and I think they actually have a chance to take market share from Google, and I think they're doing it. So you know, the proof is in the pudding, and I love the commercials last year. Besides that,
Yeah, definitely. And Howard is back. Howard, are you there? Maybe. All right, so T.R.A.F.I.C always throws great parties. It's going to be up a notch because it will be in Vegas, and we have gambling to do there also. Can attendees expect a party every night, Rick?
well, absolutely, but I can tell you this. We are planning a party with a purpose. It's one thing just to have a party, but we're planning a party with a purpose, and I think we'll be able to tell you about that in the days to come, but it's going to be, I think it'll be well received, what we're trying to do.
Awesome. And you're hosting the conference at the Bellagio. Is there a benefit to people staying at the Bellagio versus, you know, staying at a hotel down the road where they might be able to save some money on the room nights?
Well, the Bellagio is one of the nicest hotels in the world, first of all. It's a five-star hotel, so you know, don't save a few. And you know, the money. It's first of all, we have a really good rate that expires, I think, on Friday as next Friday, $169 a night. And I'll tell you what, people that try to save money by not staying at the conference hotel, believe me, you already have a huge investment. This isn't the place to get cheap. And I'll tell you why. First of all, if you end up going to another hotel and you end up taking a cab back and forth, you'll spend a half an hour in the taxi line both ways. So now you just pissed away an hour of your time. You'll get a $15 or $25 taxi bill once or twice a day. Believe me, it really, you know, sometimes it's very convenient. When I'm at a convention, I want to be able to go up to my room during the day and relax for a few minutes. Maybe I have some phone calls to make. Maybe I need to get online. Maybe I have emails to answer. And I always, believe me, for the few dollars you can save, it's gonna end up costing you more, and you're not gonna take as much out of the show.
Yeah, I agree 100%. I made that decision a few years back by staying at the hotel of the event so that, you know, you are available more of the time to interact with people at the event. And the people who are staying off-site usually spend time thinking about getting there, and it's just a waste of time. You go there for a reason.
And let me tell you, when I didn't have the resources that I do now, believe me, I went out of my way to spend the extra money to do that because a multitude of reasons, and they always benefited me, and they always paid dividends, and it's just the right thing to do sometimes.
Hey, Rick, you've got the T.R.A.F.I.C West Conference in Vegas coming up at the end of May. You also have your T.R.A.F.I.C East Conference, which takes place in Florida in October, I believe.
Right.
What do you say to people who are thinking of skipping the T.R.A.F.I.C West Conference? Hey, Howard, skipping T.R.A.F.I.C West and saving it for T.R.A.F.I.C East. You know, should they consider both, or, you know, is it?
Listen, there's no way anyone can put their business on hold for 4 or 6 months when business is this ripe out there. Okay, when there's so much business to be had, for someone to sit on the sidelines now, it's insane. I mean, really. And believe me, the last few days, it's like an avalanche of people starting to realize that they have to be there. And, you know, if they're not, people are going to ask, well, first of all, why aren't they there? And second of all, you know, like I said in my a mailer last week, I said, if you want to wait 6 months to postpone your business to save $1,000, something is wrong, and you need to rethink what you're thinking about, because it's just wrong-minded. I mean, come on.
I apologize, but my computer, knocked out again. I don't know how much of my fantastic speech you heard or you didn't hear, but
we heard all of it, Howard. It was fantastic. You dropped out right at a cliffhanger, but Rick filled in for you very well.
Okay. No, whatever I missed, I just wanted to make a point on what Rick just said, and that is that we're not competing with all of these other shows, because we're the only show, and people pay more money for a reason. Okay, they pay more money because it qualifies them as serious domain investors. If they aren't serious domain investors, let them go to one of the other shows and have their parties and enjoy and have their fun and everything. But what we've been saying for years, traffic means business, and the only way you can do business is to know that the person that you're talking to is somebody that is going to be good for your business, and that's the whole idea. So you asked about the speed networking and whether Rick has taken it off or not. We were planning on going back to our original speed networking situation, where everybody would have an opportunity to meet the people that they have not previously met. It won't be quite as fast as it was before. We give them an opportunity to actually sit down and talk to people and make contacts, because networking is the key. And one of the reasons that our prices are so high is because we have, we're tied in with the hotel to provide food to the attendees, and that's an important thing. I mean, anybody can feed you anything, but the important thing is, and Rick has said this for many years, people who break bread together do business together. And by having everybody together for lunch, for breakfast, for dinner, or whatever, it provides that glue that keeps everybody together and helps them, in fact, network to do business. If you have to go out and look for someplace to have lunch, and you have an hour to do so, and you got to rush back, and you either have a group of friends that you go with, or you're by yourself because you're from a country that you don't know anybody there, or it's your first show there, and you're just sitting there playing, tiddlywinks because there's nobody that you can talk to. It's a problem, and that's why we build that in. So, and that's why there's a cost. But there's, it all comes together, and there's a method to our madness. So I would think that people would understand that, and if they don't, I'm explaining it.
Right.
That's the reason.
Yeah.
And that is the.
All right, gentlemen, any final thoughts before we wrap up this session about the T.R.A.F.I.C conference taking place in May?
Well, again, I apologize. I didn't get half of it, but we're working on a concept that I don't know whether Rick has mentioned it or not, so I'm not even going to get into it unless he does. But we're working on a concept that will be an exciting concept that has been voiced by somebody who has been attending T.R.A.F.I.C in the past. Is very well known, very well respected in the domain business, and we think that it's going to be extremely exciting and successful. And if people are sitting on the fence now, once they hear about that, we think that there's going to be a big rush to get in. And the one thing that you need to know is that if you're planning on coming, or if you're on the fence, the hotel rates go up on May 4th. Okay. And we have no control over that. So you can get your hotel rates now. If you have a thought that you may be coming, book your hotel, because now you can get it at the ridiculously low rate of $169 a day. For the Bellagio, it's absolutely amazing.
It is beautiful.
And hopefully that'll help you decide whether to come or not, because if you wait until later, it's going to cost you $300-400 a night if you're going to stay at the Bellagio. And if you're not, and if you're going to stay, at some cheap hotel, either on the Strip or not, it's going to cost you money just to get to there.
Yeah.
So
our job between now and showtime is to keep giving people reasons to come, and we understand that, and that's what we do. That's what we always do. And like I said, that's why I don't do the agenda 6 months before. I wait the last few weeks. Now everyone has the other show out of their system. They have tax day out of the way. They know what kind of budget and money they're working with.
Yep.
And now they're, the calendar is going to turn May next week, and then everyone starts paying attention. Like I say, our job is every day and every week is to give them more and more reasons to come until it's overwhelming.
Excellent. Howard Neu and Rick Schwartz, co-founders of the Traffic Domain Name Conference. Thanks for coming on and sharing more information about your upcoming conference, May 28th through the 31st, with a couple of days of networking beforehand. To learn more, buy tickets, learn about the discounted hotel rate, go to targetedtraffic.com. Targetedtraffic.com. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you, Michael. Appreciate it.